my patrons, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for being a patron of mine. You guys don't realize how awesome that is, how excited I am that you believe in what I'm trying to do. That's so exciting, and it just pushes me even more to create more content. So thank you, thank you, thank you. This video is showing you how I created my monthly photograph, my chosen monthly photograph. What I went through it in Lightroom and Photoshop to get where it was for the postcard, which you should be having, or you should have now, or will be receiving soon. First of all, roll intro. All right, so my first monthly photo was an image of a hot beverage outside in the snow. And let's just jump right in, show you how it was done. So the first thing I do is turn on music. This is my favorite online music, is Epidemic Sound. Future bass. Okay, so I'm going through the images right now, and typically last one is the one I choose, but anyway, go to the crop and rotate tool, crop it the way I want it. I realize the background line is angled, but I'm looking for the cup because the cup is the main character of this image. So I'll go through the basic adjustments, which is exposure, and lights and darks and clarity and all that good stuff. When I got it the way I like it, bring it into Photoshop, and I knew that I would be adjusting the cup itself and the background. So I wanted to have those two layers separated. So what I did was I went through and outlined the entire cup. And this image was a little bit difficult to work with because I've got a narrow depth of field, so it's blurry on the edges, but it's not a huge deal because I'm going to feather it anyway. When you cut it, there's still going to be a hard line, and so I'll go in and do a little feather or blur the edges depending on what I'm going to be doing. Go through and make sure the points are exactly right. Then I'll go back in and finite the handles of the curves, make sure it's exactly right. When I got it all outlined, I go to my paths layer, make it from a working path to an actual path, double clicking and titling it, hit OK. Now I have it if I ever need to get to it again. So I'll go in, select the path, feather it, I'll copy, and then paste onto a new layer. And there it is. So when I delete it or hide the background, you can see it's on there. So now what I'm doing is I realize that if I tilt that cup in any way, you're going to see the hard edge and a white background for where I cut that cup out of the background. So I need to go in and basically I want to stamp in around the cup so that if I do adjust or rotate the cup, you're not going to see anything in the background. So what I'm doing right now is I'm stamping around the cup. So if I do rotate it, you're not going to see anything. But I realized through this process, why don't I just do a content aware fill? So that's what I did. I select the area that I wanted to do a content aware fill. Hit OK. It's going to take a little bit, and boom. Look at that, just like that. But also I just realized that around the edge of that content aware fill, there's this fine white line. So now I'm going to spend time to go through and stamp an area that I grabbed from the background somewhere and fill in that white line so you don't see it anymore. Spend a little time doing that. So anyway, go back, erase that really fine white line, and I wanted to add more steam because the camera didn't capture the steam that I was hoping to. So I downloaded a fog image, a free image from the website, or from the internet, copied it and pasted it, rotated it, and got it to where I wanted it, that it's going to look natural as steam, and went down to screen, which made it more realistic. Went to the blur, blurred it. Now you can see, okay, now it's looking a little bit more natural. And scale it so that it's a little bit more realistic going up. Now it's sitting on top of the cup, which I don't really need, so I'm going to drag that layer behind the cup so that looks more natural. So the steam is coming out of the cup and not in front of the cup. It's obvious. So I also wanted a little bit more steam, so I duplicated that layer. So now there's 2 steam layers, and dropped the opacity just a little bit. The next thing that was really just driving my eye was that little hole in the table where the umbrella goes. And it was just sticking out too much. It was something that didn't need to be there. So I wanted to use the patch tool to cover that up. It's easy. Just select the area you don't want to have, click and drag to somewhere that's close, similar in color. Now the last thing that I wanted to do, or not last thing, the second to the last thing, was it was snowing that day. But you don't really see the snow too much, so I wanted to add my own. Again, grabbed a snow image from the internet, scale it to fill the full image area. And do a filter of lighten. It's pretty harsh right now, so you drop the opacity down, and now that looks a little bit more realistic. You don't see it too much. You see it a little bit on the cup. You do see it in the background where the trees and the snow are, but without it, it just looked a little bit dull, so I wanted to make sure it was okay. Last thing I noticed was that I needed to fill the background because that white area just looks odd. I know that it's the roof and there's snow on the roof, but to somebody just looking at the image is like, why is this big blank white area? So in order to make it look a little bit more real and have flexibility, I needed to select the table, cut it, and paste it just like I did for the cup. So I did that, selected the table, cut it, pasted it on top of the background image. Now I can go to the background and stretch the image or enlarge it. Now that looks much better. That's good. I do have a hard edge on this table, so I grabbed the blur tool and it just puts a little hint of blur on a hard edge, and that makes it look more natural, a little depth. And there you have the monthly image for February that is now in March. It is the image of the postcard that you have received or will be receiving. Thanks for watching this. Let me know what you think on the down below. Would like to know if you thought this was helpful, if it was interesting, what you want to do, or what you would like me to do in the future. Anything is helpful. But thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thank you again for being a patron of mine. It's awesome. You guys are awesome. Until then, we'll see you next time. This is JD, out! The background's going to be completely filled, so I can even take the cut. Hold on. Let's see what we got here. Seattle. Hello?
Hi, this is an important message.
Not that important for me.
You better check for pose. You better check for pose. You better check for